Hello, America. This is Eddie Marcus again, spokesman, basic human rights, all people. I'm in my hometown now, Itabena, Mississippi, where I promised the people that Mississippi had but one way to go, and that was up. And I think that was a couple of years ago that I made that statement. And as those years have passed, I have not seen America move on up. I haven't seen Itabena, Mississippi move on up. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you some stuff. You know, in the 80s, I was in the military, United States Navy. Ronald Reagan was president of the United States. But for poor people in poor countries that America had to deal with, Ronald Reagan was as cold could be. It was embarrassing to be in a foreign country wearing a United States military uniform. It was disgusting. And I say that because that's the way it was to me. I don't know how it was to anybody else, but it did not represent me and my upbringing at all. And Donald Trump being pretending to be president of the United States now, if I were in the military, there is no way in God's world would I wear a uniform, a United States military uniform with Donald Trump calling himself commander of chief, the most disgusting, despicable president that I have ever seen. I know he's not the worst because they tell me slavery existed and he is trying to see if he can get that situation back. And there's no way I would go for that by wearing the uniform. But what am I saying mostly? I'm disgusted to call myself an American. American. I was raised by people who cared. I was raised by people who had sense. I was raised by people who had a God that said that every human being on the face of the earth were here because God gave them the breath of life, and they are here on this earth that God prepared to hold them, to house them, to be their provider for work, to be their provider for food, for clothing, for shelter, for education and healthcare and transportation and infrastructure. All that life is about, God prepared that it would take place right here on this earth. And we, the people, would be participant in life by the things that we did and the resources that we amass, the services that we amass would be in such an abundance that no one would ever have to suffer a lack thereof, my friend. Your needs, your wants, and your desires met, living in peace and prosperous and free, and joyous and happy, and living your dreams. That's what I was taught. And now this crap is going on. America taking citizens and locking them up in concentration camps, taking people's health care away from them and giving it to the rich, taking people's educational benefits and giving it to the rich, taking food from people. I'm not just talking about Americans, I'm talking about human beings, rather than constructing it so that those people who suffer the most, who have gone through the worst changes, that we, the people who have been blessed, could be their uplift. No, we up here trying to be the devil. I could not walk around and call me and say I'm a proud American. And I'm not just talking about Trump. I'm not just talking about MAGA. I'm not just talking about white people. What's going on right down there, what they call that alligator, Alcatraz and stuff like that in these concentration camps, that is done in the name of the United States of America. And that means everybody who calls themselves a citizen of America. And if these other nations get mad and say they're not going to take it anymore, come together and drop a bomb on America, I want you to know that those of you who thought you were so precious, those of you who thought you were outside of this, that bomb does not care who you are, does not care what color you are, how old you are, how young you are. It will destroy your tail just like it would anybody else, and you would have brought it on yourselves. Again, I say the pain and suffering that are dished out to other people who have dealt with America is the curse of America, America. And I honestly tell you the truth, knowing what God has prepared us for, knowing how we can have our dreams, and we choose this, yes, I am sick and tired and no, I have no glory in being an American. You say, well, you can do this. No, don't tell me anything about what I can do. God prepared that we can live righteously and happily. But we here in America say we don't want that. We're going to choose capitalism and a democracy. You got other people who choose socialism. You got other people who choose communism. You got all kinds of people that choose every kind of thing, anything, just to disagree with God. And the people around here on earth is just going along with them and accepting a lie that just be cool. God gonna get you in the end. In the end time, He's gonna separate you and put you on one side with the good folks, and separate the others and put them on the side with the bad folks. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. This people, what you call bad folks, that's your failure. You have the responsibility. You think you're better? You have the responsibility to teach them the right way. And I'm not just talking about in words, I'm talking about in action. I'm saying that you should be looking out for it. People everywhere, not just in America, not just in Itabena, Mississippi, but everywhere, in China, in India, in Africa, in Puerto Rico, everywhere that people exist. It is the responsibility of decent people to make sure that decency is reigning across this globe and not just bull. So there, I'm upset today. I'm standing out here in this hot sun because I want you to know that Eddie Marcus, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people, fed up with this and stuff. And you, American people, ought to be ashamed. Not just white people, not just Trump, not just Meghan, but the Supreme Court, the, the Congress, and everybody, the church, and preachers. Everybody in America should be ashamed. You should be ashamed because you like a wet dog with nothing smelling good. You stink. I just wanted to tell you that somebody should. Now, what you do with it is on you. Until next time, Eddie Marcus saying goodbye for now. I am ashamed to call myself an American.